everybody. Welcome to Studio 64. My name's David, and I've been searching the interzones for some more science, space, and tech news to share with you. And I came across this at RT.com. Yes, US Tycoon launches bid to buy TikTok. This should be entertaining. Frank McCourt has announced plans to acquire the Chinese-owned social media app's American business. Yes. American real estate mogul Frank McCourt revealed last Wednesday that he plans to build a consortium to buy social media app TikTok's US business from its Chinese owner. Now, this should be interesting because I love the way the American government's wording this because we know that TikTok in its present state is Chinese spyware. That's been, that's not even alleged at this point. The Chinese government states outright that it's not interested in the data and it doesn't use it and whatever. But the way the system's set up with China is the fact that all they've got to do is say to these companies that are based in China, such as ByteDance, who is the parent company of TikTok, please send that information to us. And are these companies going to say no to the Chinese Communist Authoritarian Dictatorship Party? Of course they're not. No. So I understand why they're doing it, but in reality, I believe that it's a backdoor to try and get to Elon Musk, because if they can control social media again, well, another social media platform like they were able to control TikTok, pre-Elon, as I call it, pre-Elon Musk, and we know from the Twitter files that there was a lot of US government control over Twitter prior to Elon Musk buying it and cleaning it out. So this is, I think, it's a backdoor, and that's the part that concerns me, as well as the Chinese being able to use TikTok as a surveillance tool. Now, again, very, very interesting because, as I say, a lot of governments around the world, not just the Americans, often do this. They will put together a very viable narrative that says X, Y, Z. It's like, we see some people in a country that are being oppressed. Let's go in and save them and give them democracy. Well, yeah, but it's not a coincidence that they also happen to have a valuable mineral that the US government wants to get their hands on. I mean, have a look at, for argument's sake, you look at Iraq. Why did they go into Iraq in 2003? Weapons of mass destruction. They didn't exist. Yes, Saddam was a bad person. Yes, he had to be taken down. Yes, I agree. But guarantee it was for, oil reasons or whatever the case is. You have a look at something such as Bosnia, for example. Look at what happened in Bosnia in the late 90s. Absolutely appalling. Lots of ethnic cleansing going on. Why didn't anybody, not just the Americans, but why didn't, NATO had peacekeeping forces, but nobody ever sent in forces en masse to protect the Bosnian Muslim minority? Because as somebody asked the question back in the day, what if Bosnia had oil? And then the Western powers would be going in there going, we're doing this for freedom and democracy and for the, to make it safe for the Muslim minority in Bosnia. But that never happened, and we know why. Same thing again with TikTok. The American government wants the Chinese to divest because they think it's Chinese spyware, which it is. But by the same token, they're going to use it as a backdoor to get to Elon Musk, I believe, and then be able to control social media again as a propaganda tool, even and because it's an election year. I did a video the other day on bots and how they were used to control TikTok prior to Elon Musk taking over. Bots were used to push a narrative on Twitter. Bots were pushed to push the narrative on Twitter about the Russian military operation in Ukraine. Very interesting indeed. Up to 80% of the hashtags "I stand with Ukraine" and "down with Russia," etc., came from bots. They weren't from real people. But people saw that, and then, as I said, not taking sides, just pointing out the fact that Twitter was used to push a narrative that Putin bad. Interesting, isn't it? Whether the guy's bad or not, it's not the point. The narrative was pushed from a Western point of view that Putin was bad. And this is really interesting to see this. Number said all sides do it. China does it, Russia does it, America does it, UK does it, you name it. It's interesting. The bid comes after US alleged President Joe Biden signed a law in April seeking to force the platform's owner ByteDance to sell the app or face a complete ban in the country. The law gives ByteDance 270 days to divest from its US business. If it fails to comply, TikTok will be banned from app stores serving American customers. Isn't it interesting? Press a button. You no longer have it on your Android phones or your Apple iPhones. So if they can do it for something like this, what else can they do it for? ByteDance, which is challenging the US law in court, said it had no intention of selling the asset. Now, over the past few years, a number of US lawmakers have made claims regarding supposed security breaches and violations by TikTok, which has staunchly denied the allegations. Yes, there was an incident with in the US in the last couple of years where some managers of TikTok in the US were dismissed, shall we say, because the app was used to spy on American citizens. Very interesting. McCourt, the executive chairman of family real estate giant McCourt Global and the former owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball team, said he plans to buy and rebuild TikTok as a new and better version for the internet. We see this potential acquisition as an incredible opportunity to catalyse an alternative to the current tech model that has colonised the internet, McCourt said in a statement. There's a buzzword, colonised. What are we going to decolonise the internet now, are we? Oh, dear Lord. Dear God. According to the businessman, TikTok presents the best and worst of the internet, which I do agree with, by connecting millions of people and allowing them to be creative. Now, on the other hand, they don't get to really share in the value that's created, and their data is scraped and stolen and shipped to China, he told the Semaphore news outlet. Yes, that I do agree with. It's similar to smart devices, the Internet of Things, such as your refrigerators that are connected to the internet. You think, well, what would the Chinese want to know about how much milk I've got in the fridge? That's ridiculous, David. Well, it's not that just that. It's just, it's what people consume in the West and how they can, and how do we know the fridge isn't listening to your conversations? Now, that sounds ridiculous, but you never know these days with the Internet of Things. Your Alexa could be listening to you. And the Chinese say, but oh no, these are private companies. We don't want that data. Absolute garbage. One single request from the authoritarian Chinese government, and all that data would be handed over immediately under threat of probably something worse than a heavy fine. I would say it would be some very, very large gentlemen turning up at your business house to your door of your business saying, hand it over now. Fascinating, isn't it? McCourt said he is working with investment bank Guggenheim Securities, legal firm at Kirkland & Ellis, and a number of academics and technologists in an effort to prepare for what he has described as the people's bid to buy TikTok. Really? That's definitely something that sounds like comes out of the Chinese Communist Party, doesn't it? He claims the goal would be to migrate the video sharing app to a digital open source protocol. Yeah, very, very interesting. As I say, I have a funny feeling, though, it's a good idea, but it's going to be used for nefarious purposes that we don't know about. And that does concern me. I mean, you look at the way they're punishing Elon Musk with X, at the moment. Government investigations into the guy, this, that, and all the other. But you notice that they don't put the same scrutiny on Mark Zuckerbucks, who owns Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. I wonder why. They don't put the same scrutiny on Google. Yeah, they may, who owns YouTube, right? Alphabet, who owns Google and YouTube, right? So that's the point that I'm trying to make. They've got more control over things like YouTube. They've got more control over things like of Facebook and Instagram. The US government, they can say what they ask them the question, the companies jump to it. Very much like the Chinese system. And that's the thing that concerns me the most, is the fact that if they get hold of TikTok, it's just going to change from one authoritarian in the background pulling the strings to another authoritarian in the background pulling the strings. And as much as you can criticize Elon Musk, It's a much better platform now than it was before he took it over in 2022. All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video because I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care. And as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say,
my nipples are very sensitive.